So what I would do is I'd go File, Scripts, Run Script, and then where Explainer Video is. And I'd open up the 2020, and there's the script for it, and then I'd run it. So I've already run it, but I don't want Duik up anymore. Let me close Duik. It's driving me crazy. Explainer Video is pre-rigged characters that were created in Duik. I'm showing you how Duik does it. You're not going to have to worry about that. But once you understand how they work, then you'll be able to work faster in Explainer Video, because you're like, okay, this is the way the artwork was created. It's parented to this structure, and this structure is controlled by this controller. And there's a lot of hidden layers, because by the time you get to this level, you're just looking at the controllers. But having that understanding of how it works, will help you with the motion. Yeah, so rigging is very helpful because, like I said, it keeps the character together. And you saw it by moving that hand control. It moved the hand, the forearm, and the arm. I'm going to run Explainer Video. So I'm going to run scripts, and then, I showed you how to run it, but I've already run it in the past, so I'm going to go and open it here. All right, here we go. So then Explainer Video pops up. And I'm going to go to character animations. I'll go woman. Let's do exercise. Sure, why not? And you can double click on it, name it what you want. And it's going to pop up over here. I'm going to show you how to edit them and make them do what you want. It's still building the rig. I'm going to drop down my quality once this loads up. I think I'm being so slow because I'm streaming and recording. All right. You've got your character. All right. Now, just to reiterate, I showed you what the walkthrough was. You draw your character however you want, break apart the shapes, import it. Then when you run Duik, you got your humanoid structure. You parent the different pieces of artwork to that structure. Select the structure and auto rig it. Then we hid all of the artwork and the structure and just had the controllers left up, all right? So you can see how once we got this script Explainer Video, you could see how instantly I knew this was Duik templates. Do you understand? Because here's the controllers, and we know that the controllers control the structure and the artwork that is parented to that structure. Got it? So with this hand, if I hit the U key to see my keyframes, it's this hand right here. So if I delete those keyframes, I can now make this do whatever I want. See what I mean? And then I would make my keyframes how I like. The position is moving that, and then the rotation, so you could do both. Like that. And then I could say, okay, well, here's the right foot. And at this point, I want that foot to move. And don't forget, so P, and if I hold down Shift and R, I only have position and Shift. So I click the stopwatches I want to move, go forward in time. See, now I can move the leg and the foot, like such. So now you understand, I showed you character rigging takes a long time. But once you know how to do it, you can then go in here and find a motion that's sort of what you want, delete the keyframes you need for the pieces, and work on your controller. So it's like rotation, I can go here, and then turn the head, and the face will move with it. And then I can maybe go straighten it back up, but then at this point, in between that, choose P for position, and we'll see if I can have the head come down a little bit. See? Get a whole different type of motion. The hips, you'll see the legs are parented to the hips. So that's what position will do, and then rotation, you could have the torso move with it. Got it? So it's a combination of animating the position and the rotations of the controllers to make the character do what you want. And since it's rigged together, it stays together. So you'll see once you start breaking the character, this is staying together fine with the position. I mean the rotation, but if I change the position of it, see what happened? The foot couldn't travel that distance because of how the character's rigged. So just watch for the breaking points. But it's all, this artwork is parented to the structure of the humanoid. And that is auto-rigged, which gives you controllers, and they hid all the other layers of the artwork you don't need. Alright? Now check this out. So you saw the rigging in Duik, and now you understand how this is working. So there's character textures. So here's the animations. Here's the textures. So we've got this woman wearing purple. And I'm going to do something radical here. So here's the texture for that character. All right. And I'm going to zoom out and show you what this looks like. So I double click this to add it into my After Effects file, but the texture will be over here in the textures folder in my project panel. So once this loads up, then the rest of how this program works should make more sense, because you understand there's artwork that's parented to the rig. The rig is controlled by the controllers. That's the whole meat and potatoes that drives not only Duik, but explainer video. That workflow must always remain that way. Here's our exercise woman, and here's the texture. So I double click to open it, and this is her texture right here. Here's baby 2, which I double clicked and it adds to my textures. So if I put baby 2 here, and then I hide the woman, what's going to happen is it's going to use the stuff it can with the baby texture. Now the baby's too small for this to work, so I'm going to hide the baby, and I'm going to make it the man teacher right here. So this is his. You can see it's more comparable to the woman's. It's just the shape color's changed. Got it? So now when I go in here, now the character's changed. All right? So you could always go into the texture and edit it. Like, see, I double clicked inside. Now I've got all my shapes. So you could make this, instead of that, we'll make it like hot pink. We'll make this hot pink. And then we'll see how that updates. See? That was the legs. It should be labeled here too. Thigh calf. So if we wanted his shirt to be something different, we would just edit the body. And I'll make that yellow, just for the fun of it. So you change what you want, and it ripples from there into the texture, which then goes into your character right there. So you see that's the lower half of the torso. The texture layer, yeah, it's right there inside the animation. So I'm going to hit U to hide all my keyframes. So here's my controllers. Now remember, there's all that hidden stuff, like, you know, the structures and the artwork, but all that is driven here inside of the textures. And I just double click that and you can edit it however you want. Like I can make the top of his shirt the same color as the bottom. There are some controllers. Alright, so there's a man-woman slider. So you see how that's going to change the weight of the character. Make him a bit bulkier. Like that. But like I said, this is designed to have simple shapes structured together and stay together. That's why it's so simple. But now that you know how this works, you could also tackle Duik for the more fine-tuned, custom-tailored look. So that's first part. So they've got this Gif Catalog, okay? And this is where you can see the different animations of what everything is. Okay, this is perfect. So it's a person holding money, and I've done this one before. So I'm gonna go to where that animation would have been, and I'll do showing tablet. And then we'll wait for this to load up, and we'll see how this character is built. Because if this isn't built the way I think it is, I'll show you the one that I worked off of and edited. The more complex the rig is, the longer it takes to load. So here's our character. And you know that the artwork is parented to the structure and the artwork are hidden, and the controllers are what's driving it. Now look at this. There's a tablet here, all right? This tablet is parented to the hand. Got that? So that means however the hand moves, the tablet will follow it. What I can do, I've got this computer chip, all right? And I can just remember, if you have something selected in the timeline and then selected in the project panel, if you hold down Alt or Option when you drag it out of the project panel onto that, it swaps out. So I've now got the computer chip. The computer chip is parented to the hand. So as the hand moves, the artwork goes with it. So this is a way, if you see animations that are pre-made in here, I forget how to find the custom animations, but you could just swap out the artwork inside there. It's all with that little swap. And then I'm gonna hide that. I'm gonna hide the chip. So if you had something new in here, I'll put the logo right here and I'll shrink it down. Put that there. And then I know I want that parented to the hand. So I could use my drop-down menu or the pick whip. And now it's following your character. So it's a series of parenting and then using the position and the rotation on the controllers to make the character do what you want. So I could get my hips. I could have him doing squats while he's showing off the chip if I wanted to. Just watch the constraints of your rig, especially with the feet. And that's basically the meat and potatoes of how explainer video works. You've got your structure, the artwork, that's all parented together. Then it's rigged and it's animated by the controllers. And then you can go in and change the texture to whatever you want by hiding the eyeball icon. Then the textures you imported, that's animation, sorry. So texture is right here. And I can do this and it should update, boom, like that. It's just, you know, the textures, what the character's gonna look like, and then any artwork that they have, you can swap out with other artwork and just make sure it's parented to the proper thing. So there's also preset walk cycles and going upstairs and things like that, and you could use those, or like I said, you could build your character in Duik and get the motions you want, but at least this way, the character is already rigged. As I said before, you'll get a far more custom look. I'm gonna close this without saving. I'm going to open up the old lady again, and it's got far more, you know, detail and texture. You could do whatever you want using Photoshop layers and then rigging it up in Duik. But once you understand the rigging process, you're just moving around the controllers at that point. I'd be remiss if I didn't. Here is the step where it's already parented. The artwork's parented to the structure. We hid the structure, and then what I did here was I went and only have my controller shown, and then the icons, I move them over right here with the position. That's just so you can see them off the body. You know, I scaled them up. So what I could then do is this hand, see how it's bending there? Right here, I'm going to zoom in and show you. IK, inverse kinetics. That's how the rig is driven. And it's enabled for the hand. I'm going to unenable it and we'll watch what happens as it moves. Wait, that's... Was it this one? That's a little too far, but you're going to get a completely different motion with... That's inverse kinetics enabled. See how the elbow's moving? I'm going to turn that off. That broke the rig, so I'm going to undo that. Let's turn off reverse and let's see what happens with that. You may have to mess around with reverse and inverse kinetics to get the arm moving the way you want. See right there? Now it's moving properly. And now it's moving the wrong way. It's sometimes your character will need that type of motion. So that's where you would move that with in the kinetics. I just wanted to show you how that works. And then there's also follow through and overlapping action. So what that might do, that's a little too far. It looks like the hand would get more life. Let's enable that. As it's moving because of follow through and overlapping action. And that'd probably be the amount that you would mess around with it. But you see how doing things in here, you've got way more control over the flexibility, the resistance, and like that. So that's why it's good to have not just an understanding of an explainer, but Duik as well, because you could really go deep in here. And there's a lot of cool functions, but I just wanted to show you the bare bones of Duik so you understand explainer. Like I said, you could use explainer, grab some of the characters, and use them for your animations for our workshops. Now that you know how the controllers work, you'd be like, oh, I want the person to be, nodding their head. Well, you know that's rotation. It's the hand, where's the head? There's the head. You can move it however you want. You just keyframe it. So you could use the preset animations or delete those keyframes because the characters are already rigged. See what these floating particles do real fast. Well, here you've got your keyframes already set in the expressions. You could go in and change the color or the shape. That's just an example of editing part of it, but I know there's far more complex things that I wanted to show you. It's going to drive me nuts. So like here, that's just basic stuff. You can put whatever you want there. Yeah, and just watch your order. When I went into Duik, I put my structures right above the pieces of artwork that they drove, and then parented that artwork to that structure layer. Then I selected all the structures and chose auto rig. And then the next step was hiding all the structure and artwork and just having the controllers, then moving the controller icons off to the side so you can animate them more easily. I think explainer video is just the templates built off Duik files, but Duik is free. That's why I was showing you Duik, so you'd understand how explainer video was made. Explainer video, you have to pay for it. It's not free. But, like I said, you save so much time on the rigging and the artwork, and some of the preset animations help you get your character to where you want it already. Yeah, you could take their icons and animate the individual parts. Like, none of those icons were animated. I did all that, but when you don't have to make the artwork, it's just that much faster. Yeah, but like I said, Duik is free, and you can get far more detailed and interesting characters using Duik. But once you understand how Duik works, you're going to understand explainer video because it's a stripped down version of Duik.